Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into hypnotic suggestibility.
Ooh,
Yeah, hypnotic suggestibility and influence.
I like it.
So we're looking at how it works and what it means for all of us. And for this deep dive, we are exploring S.P.A.R.K. Introduction to Hypnotic Suggestibility and Influence. And
Okay.
I've always been so fascinated by this idea of influence and suggestibility.
Powerful stuff.
It is, and it's almost like,
Yeah.
kind of like a Jedi mind trick,
Like that.
being able to kind of navigate resistance and really guide behavior.
Yeah, and the thing is with this deep dive, we're really going to go beyond just what influence is.
Right.
And really dive into the why.
Yeah.
The actual brain science.
You're really interested in how this works on a neurological level.
Absolutely.
So get ready, because we're not just going to explain what's happening,
Right.
but why it matters in your everyday life. All right, so let's start with the basics, the human brain.
Okay.
It's an incredibly complex organ, right?
Oh, it's amazingly complex.
So how does it all work?
Well, the human brain is this incredible network of these interconnected cells called neurons.
Okay.
And they actually use these tiny little electrical signals to communicate with each other. And we call those signals action potentials.
So those action potentials are like the language of the brain.
Exactly. They're like the language of the brain.
Okay.
These electrical signals allow for like this super rapid communication between neurons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just think about it. Without these action potentials, even the simplest actions would take forever.
Wow, that's incredible.
It is.
It's like this super fast network just constantly buzzing with information.
Constantly buzzing.
So how does influence tap into this system?
Well, think of it kind of like a dimmer switch.
Okay.
Influence can either like crank up the activity in certain brain areas,
Okay.
or it can turn it down.
Interesting.
And we can actually see this, in brain scans,
Oh, wow.
where blue areas are going to show what we call excitation.
Okay.
And black areas are going to indicate suppression.
So it's not just about
Right.
making more noise,
Exactly.
but it's also about strategically silencing
Yeah.
certain areas.
You'll get it.
That's fascinating.
It is. So now
Yeah.
let's talk about a couple of key brain regions that are really involved in suggestibility.
Okay.
So take, for example, the dorsomedial prefrontal cortex, or DMPFC.
Okay.
It helps you interpret social cues and emotional content.
Okay.
So imagine like you're trying to convince a friend to try this new restaurant.
Okay.
Appealing to their DMPFC might involve, highlighting all the rave reviews.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You're basically providing social proof.
Exactly. You're providing that social proof
Okay.
to make the suggestion more appealing.
Okay, so another area is the nucleus accumbens.
Yes, the nucleus accumbens.
And this is often referred to as the brain's pleasure center.
The pleasure center.
So how does this area play into suggestibility?
This area plays a big role in making suggestions stick.
Okay.
So by activating the nucleus accumbens, you can make those suggestions feel rewarding.
So going back to that restaurant example, you could really pique their interest by vividly describing how delicious the food is.
Right. You're tapping into that desire for a pleasurable experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow, this is so interesting. It's amazing how much is going on beneath the surface
Oh, it's incredible.
when it comes to influence.
It really is. And there's another important aspect we need to discuss.
Okay.
The role of language in shaping suggestibility.
Okay, let's unpack that. How does language actually work on the brain?
Well, it's like this chain reaction.
Oh, yeah.
So first, your brain processes words in an area called Wernicke's area,
Okay.
allowing you to understand the message.
Okay.
Then other areas like the DMPFC and the ACC, which we talked about earlier,
Right.
they kick in to determine the emotional and social significance of the message.
So it's not just about understanding the words, but it's also about assessing their impact on a deeper level.
On a deeper level.
Got it.
And then those words then activate your occipital lobe, allowing you to visualize the concepts being presented.
So it's like our brains are creating a mental movie based on the language we hear.
That's a great way to put it.
Wow.
Yeah, and then to really make those suggestions stick,
Okay.
the parahippocampal gyrus steps in.
Parahippocampal gyrus.
Now-
Okay, I'm going to need you to break that one down for me.
All right, so think of it as your brain's librarian.
Okay.
The parahippocampal gyrus retrieves related memories and anchors new ideas to past experiences.
Oh, so it's like building a bridge between the new information
exactly
and
right.
our existing knowledge.
You got it.
Okay.
And then If the influence is successful, that nucleus accumbens comes back into play,
Right.
releasing dopamine and reinforcing that new behavior.
So we've gone from those tiny little electrical sparks to entire brain regions
Right.
working in concert.
It's a symphony.
Yeah, and now we see how language acts as a conductor, orchestrating this incredible symphony of neural activity.
It's a marvel
It really is.
of biology and evolution.
Speaking of evolution, there's one concept I wanted to touch on before we move on,
Okay.
and that's the connection between dopamine
Okay.
and suggestibility.
Yeah.
This seems like a key takeaway from the material.
Absolutely. It's all about this specific dopamine byproduct called homovinilic acid,
Yeah.
or HVA,
Okay.
and cerebrospinal fluid, or CSF.
All right, so for those of us who aren't neuroscientists, can you explain what those are?
Well, think of CSF as the brain's cushioning and nutrient bath.
Okay.
It surrounds the brain and spinal cord, and it transports important substances like HVA.
Oh.
Now, HVA is a byproduct of dopamine breakdown,
Okay.
and higher levels of HVA in CSF correlate with increased suggestibility.
Interesting. So the more HVA you have in your CSF, the more likely you are to be influenced by suggestions.
That's what the research indicates.
Wow.
And this link between dopamine and suggestibility is no accident. It actually played a vital role in our evolutionary history.
Really? How so?
Think back to our ancestors.
Yeah.
They had to constantly adapt to new environments and challenges.
All right. Constantly adapted.
And the ability to quickly learn from others.
Yeah.
To be influenced by suggestions that could potentially aid in survival.
Right.
That was paramount.
It makes sense.
And dopamine, with its role in reward and motivation, played a crucial role in that process.
So suggestibility isn't just some random psychological quirk.
No.
It's deeply rooted in our biology
It's deeply rooted.
and evolution.
Exactly.
That's incredible. And that brings us to an important question. How does this dopamine-driven suggestibility manifest in the real world?
Well, there's a few fascinating examples.
Okay.
Starting with the placebo effect.
The placebo effect, the power of belief. Tell me more.
You see, the power of suggestion alone can trigger real physiological responses.
Yeah.
Simply believing something will work can sometimes be enough to alleviate pain or symptoms, even if there's no active ingredient involved.
It's like our minds have the power to heal themselves given the right cues.
It's a fascinating area of research.
It really is.
And then we have trance states,
Okay.
which you described so well earlier.
Yeah.
These states of heightened focus and absorption are like accessing a different level of consciousness.
It's like that feeling when you're completely engrossed in like a captivating book or a movie and you lose all track of time.
Exactly. Except in this case, these trance states can be intentionally induced.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they can be harnessed for various purposes, like enhancing learning, boosting creativity, even facilitating behavior change.
It sounds almost like tapping into a hidden reservoir of potential within the mind.
It really is like bypassing that critical filter of your conscious mind
Right.
to access deeper, more subconscious levels.
Are there any specific practices that utilize these trance states?
Well, hypnotherapy, for instance, uses trance states to help individuals access and reframe limiting beliefs, overcome phobias,
Okay.
or develop healthier habits.
So it's essentially about guiding the subconscious mind towards desired outcomes.
Towards desired outcomes.
Okay. You also mentioned the disinhibition of social norms.
Right.
How does suggestibility influence our social behavior?
Well, think of social norms as those unwritten rules that guide our behavior in social settings,
Okay.
helping us navigate the complexities of human interaction.
Right. It's like those unspoken expectations that shape how we act around others.
Precisely. But these norms can sometimes hold us back from fully expressing ourselves or pursuing certain goals.
Yeah.
Suggestibility, in a way, offers a path to break free from those self-imposed limitations.
So by understanding how suggestibility works, we can potentially overcome those social anxieties that might be holding us back.
That's the idea.
Okay.
Temporarily suppressing certain brain areas, like the orbitofrontal cortex, can lead to decreased social inhibitions,
Okay.
allowing for greater freedom and authenticity in social situations.
So it's like giving ourselves permission to step outside of our comfort zones and embrace a bit more spontaneity.
Yeah, and this can be particularly liberating for individuals who struggle with social anxiety or fear of judgment.
It's like unlocking a hidden reserve of confidence and allowing our true selves to shine through.
Absolutely.
We've covered so much ground today, from the inner workings of the brain to the profound influence of suggestion on our thoughts,
Yeah.
behaviors, and even social interactions.
It's been quite a journey, hasn't it?
It really has.
And it highlights just how much untapped potential we have within us, just waiting to be unlocked through a deeper understanding of suggestibility.
It's truly remarkable, and with this knowledge, we can start to see the power of suggestion not just as something that happens to us,
Right.
but as a tool we can use to shape our own experiences and even influence the world around us.
Absolutely. But as with any powerful tool, it's crucial to approach it with responsibility and awareness,
Right.
ensuring that our intentions align with ethical considerations.
I completely agree. It's about using this understanding to foster positive change, build stronger connections, and creates a more harmonious world.
Well said.
So we just explored how the power of suggestion can have tangible effects on the brain, and even how it's tied to our ancestors' survival.
That's right. Now, let's delve a little deeper into these practical applications of suggestibility we touched on before.
Okay.
The placebo effect, for example, it demonstrates just how powerful belief and expectation can be.
It really is remarkable. I mean, just thinking something will work can lead to physiological changes in the body.
Absolutely. And it's not just limited to pain management.
Right.
Studies have shown that the placebo effect can be observed across a variety of conditions.
Yeah.
The brain's ability to influence our well-being through suggestion alone is quite extraordinary.
So can we say that our minds have a sort of inherent healing capacity activated by the right suggestions?
It's certainly a fascinating area of research. And then we have trance states, which you described so well earlier.
Yeah.
These states of heightened focus and absorption are like accessing a different level of consciousness.
Yeah, it's like that feeling when you're completely engrossed in like a captivating book or a movie and you lose all track of time.
Exactly, except in this case, these trance states can be intentionally induced.
Oh, wow. So you can kind of like consciously
Yeah,
enter that state.
you can.
That's fascinating.
And they can be harnessed for various purposes,
Okay.
like enhancing learning, boosting creativity, even facilitating behavior change.
It sounds almost like tapping into a hidden reservoir of potential within the mind.
It really is. It's like bypassing the critical filter of your conscious mind
Right.
to access these deeper, more subconscious levels.
Are there any specific practices that utilize these trance states?
Well, hypnotherapy, for instance,
Okay.
uses trance states to help individuals access and reframe limiting beliefs, overcome phobias, or develop healthier habits.
This is essentially about guiding the subconscious mind
Exactly.
towards desired outcomes.
Towards desired outcomes. That's the goal.
Okay, you also mentioned the disinhibition of social norms.
Yes.
How does suggestibility influence our social behavior?
Well, think of social norms as those unwritten rules that kind of guide our behavior in social settings,
Okay.
helping us navigate the complexities of human interaction.
Right, it's like those unspoken expectations that shape how we act around others.
Precisely. But these norms can sometimes hold us back from fully expressing ourselves or pursuing certain goals.
Right, they can be limiting.
Yeah, and suggestibility, in a way, offers a path to break free from those self-imposed limitations.
So by understanding how suggestibility works, we can potentially overcome those social anxieties that might be holding us back.
That's the idea. Temporarily suppressing certain brain areas, like the orbitofrontal cortex,
Okay.
can lead to decreased social inhibitions, allowing for greater freedom and authenticity in social situations.
So it's like giving ourselves permission to step outside of our comfort zones and embrace a bit more spontaneity.
Exactly, and this can be particularly liberating for individuals who struggle with social anxiety or fear of judgment.
It's like unlocking a hidden reserve of confidence and allowing our true selves to shine through.
Absolutely.
We've covered so much ground today, from the inner workings of the brain to the profound influence of suggestion on our thoughts, behaviors, and even social interactions.
It's been quite a journey, hasn't it?
It really has.
And it highlights just how much untapped potential we have within us, just waiting to be unlocked through a deeper understanding of suggestibility.
It's truly remarkable, and with this knowledge, we can start to see the power of suggestion, not just as something that happens to us,
Right.
but as a tool we can use to shape our own experiences and even influence the world around us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But as with any powerful tool, it's crucial to approach it with responsibility and awareness,
Yeah.
ensuring that our intentions align with ethical considerations.
I completely agree. It's about using this understanding to foster positive change, build stronger connections, and create a more harmonious world.
Well said.
It's really been quite a journey, hasn't it?
It really has, from those tiny neurons firing to the vast power of suggestion.
Yeah, and it's not just about understanding how others might influence us, right?
Yeah.
It's also about empowering ourselves
Absolutely.
to be more effective communicators
Yeah.
and even shape our own realities.
This knowledge can be truly empowering by understanding how language and imagery affect the brain. We can become more mindful in our communication and more deliberate in our interactions.
It's almost like we've been given this powerful toolkit, but many of us haven't even opened it up
That's a great analogy.
to see what's
It's about
inside.
recognizing that power
Yeah.
and learning to wield it responsibly.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm curious, and I'm sure our listeners are too,
Yeah,
if we could tailor our communication to specifically target those brain areas we talked about,
right.
how might we use this knowledge effectively and ethically?
That's a great question to ponder.
Mm.
We've seen how specific language patterns, vivid imagery, and emotional appeals can activate or suppress different areas of the brain,
Right.
ultimately shaping thoughts, feelings, and actions.
Right, like appealing to someone's DMPFC by highlighting social proof or engaging their nucleus accumbens with the promise of a rewarding experience.
Exactly. It's fascinating to consider how we can leverage this understanding to communicate more effectively and create positive change.
Yeah, it's about understanding the power of language while always respecting the autonomy and individuality of others.
Well said. Just imagine a world where communication is used to foster understanding, bridge divides, and inspire collaborative solutions. That's the potential we unlock when we combine this knowledge with empathy and respect for the human experience.
This has been such an eye-opening exploration. We've uncovered the hidden mechanisms of the brain, examined fascinating research, and hopefully sparked some new ideas for our listeners.
It's been a pleasure diving into this topic with you, and I encourage everyone listening to continue exploring this fascinating world of influence and suggestibility. There's always more to discover.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating realm of hypnotic suggestibility. We'll be back next time with another stack of sources and a brand new topic to explore. Until then, keep those minds engaged and those neurons firing.